Yo, what's going on YouTube? It's your boy Jan Moses back here with an episode of the salary cap recap. Whenever I would make these videos in between salary changes during the week, I would usually put it under the salary cap report umbrella, but I want to call it the salary cap recap just to include it into the whole salary cap series that I'm doing here on the Bronx Cindy channel. But instead of us going over salary changes, I want to more so talk about the lineups that I ran, because I don't really ever get to show you guys what my finalized lineups look like after all the salary changes happen. And that's usually because in those salary cap report episodes, I just show what the salary changes are, and then I don't want to waste your guys' time messing around with my lineup while I'm on camera, because I don't really edit my videos. I'm pretty lazy as it is, and so I figured instead of me doing all that in a video, why don't I record a salary cap report episode, cover all the salary changes, talk about players that I think you guys should consider putting into your lineup, and then when I'm off camera, I play the games, obviously, I mess around with my lineup, and then at the end of it all, or in this case at the end of the round, we just finished round 1 of salary cap, you can see we got our first of 3 Dark Matter Shattered prize pieces for hitting 2,500 points in round 1. At the end of this round, I wanted to showcase the lineup that I ran and kind of talk through what my thought process was building my team, and emphasize and highlight some players that I think are really good and maybe are even better than I had previously thought when I was, recommending them to you guys in previous salary cap report episodes. One thing that I want to say right off the top, and I'm sure a lot of you guys know this, I'm not all that good at the game at all. I think on my best day playing my team right now in NBA 2K25, I am average. And I think a good thing about that is because I'm not that good at the game, it's going to take me longer to get to 2,500 points than it is for the average person playing this game. And so I'm going to play more games, and so I'm going to have a larger sample size for me to get to try out different players and then give my honest feedback. And the way I want you guys to look at it, because I think the average person watching this video is better at this game than I am, if there's a player that I'm recommending to you guys because they were working well for me, I strongly recommend that you give them a shot if you have the player or if you see them on the auction house and they're cheap, because if that player can work for me, odds are I'm probably not even using that player in the best way possible. I'm not optimizing that player on the virtual court for me, and you may be able to get more juice out of that virtual lemon, if that makes sense. Let's just get into it, man. I'm spending way too much time on the screen with the shatter prize pieces. We ended up going 12-6, which I'm really happy about. So we ended up going 4-1. I'm recording this video on Tuesday, same day that I recorded the salary cap report episode, which you guys hopefully saw yesterday. But this video should be coming out on Wednesday, hopefully. So we end the round at 12-6, which I'm pretty happy with. I still have bad memories of how I ended my round 1 salary cap run last season. In season 4, we started out 9-13, and I was really down in the dumps about how I was playing. And I kind of felt similarly on Friday when I was 4-5, but to go 8-1 in my last 9 games is a record that I'm really, really proud of. And more importantly than that, I feel like I really found my groove. You can see we're shooting almost 60% from the floor, which I'm really happy with. 46% from 3. I think that's like up 10 percentage points compared to where I was shooting compared to a season ago when I ended round 1 in season 4. I think the stat I'm most proud of, you can see we're getting 2 steals, 1.5 blocks. We're winning games by over 15 points a game. Our losses have been really close, and our wins have been massacres for the most part, which is honestly a great feeling. I feel like I finally have added enough players to my collection over the past season where I have enough versatility with my lineup that I can add different players in when certain players' salaries go up and others go down. That I can still have a really effective team that fits my play style, and I'm not hurt by those salary changes. Like Dyson Daniels going from 5,000 salary down to 2,000 was great, but that was short-lived. He went back up to 3,000, and now he's up to 3,800. And so I really needed another point guard I could trust. And as much as I love Mario Chalmers, he's not a point guard I want to necessarily start unless I have to, unless I have, you know, a pink diamond or a galaxy opal player that I love using. But the way I play the game, I like to, you know, kind of keep it equal opportunities. I've talked about it a lot. You know, I ran this hero ball lineup a good amount in like a previous season or so, you know, right? I think in season 4 I ran with the lineup that had like Kawhi Leonard or Anthony Davis in it as my 8,000 salary Galaxy Opal card. But I personally find it more effective when I run a lineup like this, where I have multiple people that I trust with when it comes to scoring the ball and defensively. And I was just talking about point guards, how Dyson Daniels went up pretty dramatically in salary and how I needed more options at the point guard spot. And over the last season, I've added cards like Tyreke Evans, who you see in the starting lineup for me right here. I had Marcus Smart, I believe, at the tail end of season 3. Michael Carter-Williams we added last season. Obviously, we have Dyson Daniels. So we have a number of point guards that we can include. And whenever Tuesday or Saturday rolls around, those 4 cards are actually 4 of the first cards I look at. Because whichever one of those cards is closest to 2,000 salary is going to be the card that I'm more than likely going to run. And if you had told me a week ago that on a Tuesday, a random Tuesday where we have salary changes, that Tyreke Evans and Marcus Smart would both be at 2,000 salary, I would tell you confidently that I would be running Marcus Smart because I like Marcus Smart's jumper. Marcus Smart is a monster defensively, but I ended up running with Tyreke Evans this weekend, and I want to say that Tyreke Evans is actually the card that if I were to give awards for the end of the round, which maybe we'll do that, I'm just going to kind of, you know, I'm going to run with this on the fly here. I'm going to give Tyreke Evans my MVP award for round 1 of salary cap here in season 5. I was 4-5, and then I put him into my starting lineup, and then we ended up going 8-1. And in a lot of those games, I ended up dominating because of Tyreke Evans and his slashing ability. I talked about it in the episode that I dropped yesterday of the salary cap report. This card has great layup and dunk animations, and if you're playing against a card who's just a little shorter than him, like a card that's 6'3", maybe even 6'4", because of his 6'6" size and he's 220, I just feel like gets better dunk and layup animations over those cards than a card like Marcus Smart would for me. And, you know, again, I mentioned this also in the last episode. His jumper is not as good as a card like Marcus Smart or even a card like Mario Chalmers. But the thing I love about the fact that his jumper is slow is when he is open, I'm greening more of them. He does have limitless range on gold stock, which is great. So if your opponent fights under the screen, which I can't tell you how many times my opponents have done that. And to be fair, I think that is the smart way to defend Tyreke Evans, because if you go over the screen and I get the, you know, the defender, on-ball defender on Tyreke Evans' hip, I'm going to more than likely get an easy dunk, or I'm going to force that center to come and hedge and help, and then I have, you know, 2 guys defending Tyreke Evans, and that's where Hall of Fame Dimer comes into play. And I think the reason why I'm shooting almost 60% from the floor and 46% from 3 is because I have a point guard who has Hall of Fame Dimer, and the impact that I've seen with a card that has this badge versus other point guards is dramatic. And I think for that reason, unless they bump up Tyreke Evans' salary up to like 3,000, I may end up rocking with Tyreke Evans a little more. I mean, again, my record in round 1 is what it is because of Tyreke Evans. You know, I have a 66% win percentage in round 1 because of Tyreke Evans, who helped me win 8 of my last 9 games. So I want to give major props to Tyreke Evans. Ron Holland, he was not in my lineup for a little bit because his salary jumped up to 1,200, or sorry, up to 2,000. And I will say I don't love his jump shot that much, but defensively he's an absolute demon, and he's been my Michael Beasley and Dr. J stopper. Now, does he stop them every time down the floor? No. Is that partially because I'm not great at the game, and the way I defend is I just stick on ball defense the entire time, even if it puts me out of position? Yeah, you know, I could definitely defend the pick and roll a lot better by, you know, moving around who I'm defending with. Like, I know I'm not playing defensively in the smartest way possible by sticking on ball the whole time and getting crushed on screens. Like, it's not smart, but I just enjoy playing defense like that, and Ron Holland makes playing defense like that easier. Again, for an Amethyst card that doesn't have a great jump shot, he needs to be absolutely elite at finishing which he actually is if I'm using him and I'm, on a fast break. I trust him to attack and make the layups go in. And defensively, he's just an absolute demon. What I love about this card, and what I love about all these amethysts that we're getting in Season 5 so far, is they all come with 2 Hall of Fame badges. And I love that this guy comes with on-ball menace and posterizer, because again, on the fast breaks, being able to get nasty dunks, it's good knowing that the card that I have slashing on a fast break has a good chance of converting, because a lot of the teams I played against were really good in the half court setting on defense. And so if I could capitalize when we force a turnover or when we get a long rebound and it's leading to us pushing the pace, having a card like Ron Holland playing at the shooting guard position, because your shooting guard and your small forward, at least for me, are always the ones gunning down the floor. Having a card that has Hall of Fame posterizer in that position is great. And then on-ball menace, I mean, I need to look at what the other amethyst cards look like and what their 2 Hall of Fame badges are, but I think Ron Holland, given what he's going to provide you on the floor, he has 2 of the best Hall of Fame badges, I think, of any other card out there. Speaking of amethyst, the only card that I could potentially see me running at point guard just to give him a shot, and this is a card that you would have to stay at 1200 salary for me to do so, is Nikola Topic, who I've yet to try, or Topic, because this guy has Hall of Fame dimer as well, and he's 6'6". So this is the card that I'm kind of holding on to and waiting to see. Is he going to be able to start for me because of Tyreke Evans and my other diamond point cards all going up? Like, I think if Tyreke goes up but Marcus Smart stays at 2,000, I might prefer just keeping Marcus Smart in and, not bringing in Nikola Topic. But if all those guys go up on Saturday for the start of a new round, then I may bring in Topic just to give him a shot, because I feel like he could be really good for us with that Hall of Fame dimer. Trey Murphy, my small forward position is kind of like a revolving door between, we had, oh my God, I'm blanking on Jeff Green. I was blanking on Jeff Green's name. We had Jeff Green in there for a little bit. I think Jaime Jaquez Jr. has probably played the most minutes at starting small forward for me in salary cap this year. Obviously love Jaime, but one thing I've noticed over the past few weeks, because of him only being 6'6", he does struggle against those really tall, small forwards, especially now in this new meta where people are running with 1 pink diamond, and oftentimes that 1 pink diamond is Michael Beasley. Jaime kind of struggles, and even when I'm putting him defensively up against a guy like pink diamond Dr. J, Jaime only has like 85 speed, and so for that reason, with him being at 2,000 salary now, maybe it's a little more worth it, but I feel like I'd personally rather run a card like a Sadiq Bey, or in this case, my last game, I just ran Trey Murphy just because I like his jumper, and, I still don't know what direction I want to go with. I still think Jaime Jaquez Jr. is one of the best value diamonds in the game, but I'm not really sure if I want to rock with him in round 2. We'll have to see. Paolo Banchero, I feel like this is one of the diamonds who's going to be worth that really rich salary value. Now he's worth 3,800. That was his same salary value on Saturday. If you have a Paolo that's badged out, I feel like this is a card that you could bring in and be quite impactful with, and you're not going to be spending that 8,000 salary like you would on a Michael Beasley or on a Dr. J. I don't use this Paolo nearly enough, but I definitely have games where he does go off for me, and once he gets his takeover, I believe the one that I bought has that satellite takeover. Satellite plus Legend Limitless range is actually unfair, and I actually don't like it to an extent because it encourages bad shot selection. I have like the uncomfortable urge of just wanting to pull up logo threes with Paolo whenever he has that takeover activated, and I've hit a good number of them, but that doesn't make them good shots. I'd just like to at least make, or attempt to make 1 or 2 of them once he has his takeover, just to force my opponent to play like on ball, like up close, at that point of the game. But Paolo Banchero, really good card. Obviously you guys all know that. I think I'm mentioning Paolo now because if you're someone who you're playing against a lot of these teams that have these pink diamonds, and you want to build your own team, but you don't want to you want to build your own team that's kind of like those those hero lineups, I call them, where you have one highly high salary player, you want to surround them with other players. I'd rather bring in a card like Paolo Banchero at 3,800 and then bring in a card like Alex Sarr, who I really enjoyed running at the center position, for 5,000 salary. These 2 cards combined are only 800 salary more than Dr. J and Michael Beasley. And I think Sar is really good. I feel like, you know, he was almost kind of slept on a little bit because people were kind of bashing his badges not being that great and his ratings not being that great and his jumper not being sped up at all. And it is not a great jump shot. I will say I don't love Alex Sar's jumper. I don't green with him as often as I brick with him, but today's my first day running with him, and I want to see if he stays at 5,000 salary on Saturday, and we don't see drastic changes salary wise to my other players. We may continue rocking with Alex Sar, because I feel like if it's between him and Jack Sigma for 4,500 salary, I'd rather pay the additional 500 and bring in Pink Diamond Sar. The bench mob, I don't really have all that much to say. I mean, Mario Chalmers, you guys know how good he is. I think he is the Swiss Army knife of salary cap. He's going to always have a spot in your lineup if you have him. I think he is the most valuable Ruby in the game, maybe outside of Bilal Koulibaly, who I think is just so damn good. The only reason why I can't ever run a lineup with Pink Diamond Bilal Koulibaly is because I don't want to lose having his Ruby play for me. Currently he's at 1,000 salary, so he's incredible to run. James Posey, I feel like, is the card I've had on my salary cap lineup for the longest time. He's been at 800 salary now for a few weeks, which is great. You know, great defender, one of the rubies that comes with a bunch of gold badges, all 21 of them on gold is amazing. Kenneth Farid, I really am, I'm really sorry. I apologize for not remembering who it was that told me that Kenneth Farid has a really good jumper. When I picked him from the All-Star Event Exchange, I didn't really think about bringing him into salary cap unless I just needed another Amethyst power forward just to have him. But I ended up, you know, over the last few games in particular, trying to run pick and pop with Kenneth Farid, because he's not just the manimal who's, you know, elite at slashing and, you know, grabbing those contested rebounds. His jumper is actually really easy to green, and it's fast, and you know, that combination isn't always there for me when it comes to a lot of players, but Kenneth Farid is a player who does provide that for me, and for that reason, you know, he may even eventually down the road start for me. I could see a world where I run Paolo at the 3 and I start Kenneth Farid in round 2. So yeah, Kenneth Farid, if you have him, please run him. He's so damn good in salary cap, and at that 1,200 salary, it's unfair. He's so damn good. Goga Padate, you know, he had games where he played really well for me, and then in the last couple of games, he was getting crushed on the glass by DeAndre Ayton. So I'm not really sure what to make of Goga. You know, his jumper is really, really slow, and there were some games where, kind of like with his rebounding, I could not get any shots to go down. And then there were games where he would get me, you know, he'd go 3 for 3 from downtown, get 6 rebounds, get 4 assists, and get 2 blocks. Like, he had games where he was either very impactful or he was just hurting me. And so there was very rarely ever any middle ground. But Goga, really good. We'll see if we end up going to DeAndre Ayton in round 2. But these are the main players I wanted to touch on. They played a lot for me in salary cap. And, you know, the other nice thing about this lineup is if you're someone that runs with a guy like Michael Beasley or Dr. J, then all these players that I mentioned, for the most part, outside of Alex Sar and Paolo Banchero, these are all cards that you can run with your Beasley, your Dr. J, your Pink Diamond LeBron, even your Pink Diamond Victor Wembanyama. You can run all these cards with them because, you know, all the Pink Diamonds not named Victor Wembanyama are only going to eat up 8,000 of your 19,000 salary cap. And even Wemby, if you bring in Wemby, you'll still have 9K salary to mess around with. You can still easily bring in a card like Tyreke Evans. And I think the pick and pop game with Tyreke Evans and Victor Wembanyama could be absolutely lethal, especially, like I said, with Tyreke Evans being such a good slasher and having Hall of Fame dimer. You're going to be greening every single 3 with that Wembanyama card. So yeah, with that being said, I don't think I have anything else for you guys. I have no packs to open up. One thing I do want to check to see, I got a bit of my OG. I was hoping to maybe run Galaxy Opal OG Anunoby potentially in one of my lineups for round 2, but we're going to have to wait and see. You know, with these super packs coming out every single Tuesday, the last thing I'll say in this video before we end up, you know, ending it is, don't feel any pressure to have to add, you know, any of these, you know, top end meta Pink Diamonds or Opals, like, you know, like, again, Beasley, LeBron, Dr. J, Wemby. Like, these cards are going to only stand to get cheaper every week unless people stop ripping these super packs. And I just think people are chasing the new 100 overall every week, and they're chasing the new Galaxy Opals and Dark Matters. And for that reason, like, you know, people are, you know, spending so much money on these packs today, not just for the 100 overall MJ, but I think Dark Matter Giannis was in these super packs today. I mean, we can just look, right? I don't have to, you know, speculate. Yeah, KD, Steph Curry, Shea's in this. I mean, yeah, you have Dark Matter Dr. J, you have LeBron. Is Giannis not in this? Okay, no, Giannis is in this. And I don't know if Giannis was in last week's, but he was in the graphic for this week. So that's the only reason why I said that. I mean, there are a lot of really good cards in here, right? Obviously. And so I think people will continue to spend hundreds of dollars every Tuesday on these super packs for the rest of the season. And so for that reason, cards like all the pink diamonds that I mentioned are only going to be more and more available on the auction house, because seeing the supply of these desirable cards finally meeting the demand that has been there for those cards for the past few months. So, you know, unless you really want to run one of those pink diamonds on Friday when round 2 starts, I think you'll be better served waiting until, you know, a couple of weeks from now. We have a month left in season 5. I think in a couple of weeks we'll have less people that want to get, you know, the Wembys, the Dr. J's, Beasleys, and LeBrons of the world. And you'll be able to get them for, you know, 20, 30, 40, 50, maybe even 100K MT cheaper than whatever it is that they're going for now. So yeah, anyways, appreciate you guys. Hope you guys found some of the cards that I talked about somewhat useful. If there's a card that kind of surprised you in your salary cap run in round 1, let me know down below. I'm always up for recommendations, always looking for ways to modify my lineup, and it's good to kind of keep it flexible with the lineups, because again, at a moment's notice, 2K could drop some crazy salary changes, and the lineups with the players that you've loved using in salary cap may not work for you anymore. So yeah, let me know in the comments down below. Appreciate you guys. We are, I think, 9 subs away from 1100, which is awesome. So if you guys are new to the channel, leave a like, a sub would be really helpful as well. Love you guys. See you really soon. I'm out. Peace.